One thing that I found really interesting is we were talking with Patrick Bet-David yesterday, and he brought up that there was a study that was conducted, and it said out of 130 billionaires, 80 supported the Democratic ticket, and then I think it was 30 or 50. I think it was 50 supported the Republican ticket. Why do you think it is that billionaires support the Democrats, even though it has always seemed like the billionaires were wanting the tax cuts and wanting Republicans?
Right. So I think that there has been a marked shift in the approach that you've seen from where the billionaires come from. Actually makes a big difference. Like, tech billionaires are more likely to be in favor of Kamala Harris. Sort of retail billionaires are probably more likely to be in favor of Trump. So not all billionaires are created equal. They're from different sort of strata of society. They have different backgrounds. People who are tech billionaires tend to have gone to really good universities. They tend to hang out on the coasts. If you are somebody who started Walmart, if you're the Walmart family, or if you're the family that owns a big grocery store chain, or if you are the Bernie Marcus and you own Home Depot, right? Those people tend to go Republican, actually. So it kind of depends on the kind of billionaire. I wouldn't classify billionaires as kind of one class in and of themselves. And so what you really have to ask is, why is it that in sort of the upper echelons of places like San Francisco, people are voting against their own economic interests in order to vote Democrat? And I think a lot of that is sort of virtue signaling. I think a lot of it is status symboling. That's why you will see this has been a big problem in America for a long time in terms of the gap between upper income people and not as higher income people is something that Charles Murray wrote about in a book called Coming Apart. Right? So Charles Murray, after being, I think in many ways slandered by people saying that he was a racist for his writings and all this, he wrote a book that was just about white people. And the book was about the divisions between what he termed Fishtown, which is sort of people who are lower income white people, and people who are from upper income areas. And what he found is that people in upper income areas preached social liberalism but didn't live it, which you see a lot. You see a lot of billionaires who are like, yes, of course, I'm the most socially liberal person in the world. And they're all married. They all have kids. They send their kids to private school, not public school. Right? They do all the same things that I do with my kids. But then when they're referencing social values, they want to show all of their friends how tolerant and diverse they are. And so they sort of signal all of this to everybody else. And they feel that they can somehow buy the love of a public that may not like them for being rich by saying, well, yeah, sure, I'm rich, but look how generous I am. I'm voting for the party that's willing to tax me at an exorbitant rate. Which, of course, is a very silly way to do that. I mean, if you want to give more money, give more money. I mean, you get a charitable write-off. You can certainly do that. So, yeah, I think that there are a lot of factors that sort of go into that gap. You are starting to see a reversion, by the way. A lot more tech billionaires that I know are now shifting away from the Democratic Party because the Democratic Party has gone so far and moving back to the right.
It's also more like in the Overton window now, I think, to then subscribe to the Republican Party.